Guys, welcome back to My Unpopular Opinion. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you turn your post notifications on and subscribe to the channel and everything like that. So, I am branching out into other topics. Hopefully, y'all will support these other topics too, the same way y'all support my main topics. But I wanted to get on here and I wanted to talk about Kenya more and everything going on with her and the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, I don't know if you guys have been following, but if you've been following my little channel since I started it, I did used to do some videos and I talked about Kenya, her alliance with Cynthia that she had on the show, and I also talked about Candy and the alliance she had with Kenya and how I just felt like it was ruining the show. And I kept saying, this is why y'all need to really be tuning in because everything that I say in advance usually comes to pass at some point. Because I also talked about the Diddy thing beforehand. So if you remember those videos, I don't even know if they still on my page. I'm gonna have to look. But if you remember those videos, comment down below because I talked about J Lo before she started getting exposed and everybody started hating her. I talked about Diddy beforehand, and then it all came to pass. And I also talked about Kenya Moore and Candy, and looking, they're both off the show. So y'all need to start taking heed to what I say. But nevertheless, this is now obviously happening, and I saw it coming a long time ago. A lot of people didn't see it coming. The general public always felt like, oh, Kenya's this and Kenya's that, and da 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 da. And I don't dislike Kenya, I'll say that, but I do believe that what is happening with Kenya currently is definitely karma for all the dirt that she did on the show. And I'm saying this from like a unbiased, you know, just like it's not personal, it's like unpersonal for me to say it, but I'm just saying I do think it's karma. When we look back on the show, Kenya has done a lot of things that were underhanded, were low down and dirty, but the public supported it and loved it. And Kenya Moore, yes, she's this and that, and they berated other people who would do the same things or who could be as low as she. Like I'm always bring the same, I'll use this as an analogy, like Marlo, for instance. I know everyone hates Marlo, but to me, I said in that old video, I said that I felt like Kenya and Marlo are like two sides of the same coin. They are so much alike, and that's why they clash. They both go extremely low. They both play dirty, and I don't see how one gets praised and the other one gets bashed because they both are the same to me. So, what's going on with Kenya is not shocking. I'm actually I'm surprised it took this long, but I knew it was coming. So, like, I just felt like it was time for her to truly be exposed. And I think people are seeing her for who she was. Really, the rollout of this started last season at the reunion, especially when the editors, I could tell that they were really trying to finally show Kenya in her true light so that the fans could really see how kind of corny she is. Like when she tried to pull out the fake subpoena, it's like all the stunts that used to work for her are no longer working because people see through it. She did the fake subpoena. She was talking about Marlo this and Marlo that and trying so hard to get Marlo off the show, and it worked. I guess, allegedly, her and Portia both bid with the network that if they were going to do this season, Marlo, couldn't be on. And look how that's turning out. It's like you got her off the show, and then now you landed yourself off the show. So I also knew this was coming when Nene Leakes was going through what she was going through with the network, and Kenya literally laughed at Nene. She laughed at her in multiple interviews. She repeated, "Oh, it's funny. Nene is trying to sue the network. She's trying to sue True and Truly Entertainment and this, that, and the third. And you can't sue the network that's done this and that for you. She's fired." She thought it was funny and made jokes about it. And I think it's because she's always had underlying jealousy towards Nene and Nene's stardom. And I'll even give another example of her jealousy towards Nene was when Nene did the Carlos King interview and it went viral and it got millions of views and da 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 da. Right after Kenya tries to do an interview and it was underwhelming and it didn't do half the views that Nene's did. It's always like a competition with her, and I feel like she had always wanted Nene off the show, and that worked for her as well. But then look at what ends up happening to Kenya. Like, if you don't believe me, go back and watch the show and look at all the dirty things she did from her alliance with Cynthia and Candy. And it has all come back on all of them. Cynthia has already gotten it because she got off the show, but then they kind of called her back again. I don't know why. But all three of them have pretty much received their karma. Because Cynthia did go through another divorce, child. I ain't going to lie about that. But back to Kenya. From her dealing with her divorce with Mark, and it's still like this tumultuous thing or whatever, dealing with that, trying to get the hair spa open, the network not wanting to show it, then her talking crap about the network, then coming back this season, and then I really feel like the network, in my opinion, was just waiting on a moment or an opportunity to kind of humble Kenya and put her in her place. I think they were planning that from the moment she started doing interviews talking about how she didn't like last season and they were doing this and they didn't show her spa. I knew they were gonna get her, and they finally got her this season, which is why she's not there. And then they're also saying that her products are not going to be being restocked in Sally's Beauty and stuff like that. So I don't know how true that is, but that's what people keep saying around town. So I do feel like, when you do all that dirt, yes, it has brought her much success and notoriety on the show. They call her a Reed assassin, or shade assassin, which to me, I don't really think she's a shade assassin. I just think she just goes low and says anything out of her mouth, which to me is very similar to Marlo. She can just articulate a little bit better. But yeah, so all the alliances, all the dirty backbiting, and I know her and Portia are trying to act like they're friends now and stuff like that. But even a lot of the bullying that she used to do to Portia back in the day, it's like she bulldozed a lot of people on that show, and she got away with it for a long time, and it's no longer working. And although I do think her messiness is good for the show, I feel like it can definitely go on without her. To be honest, I don't think they should have gotten rid of Marlo. I think with Portia coming back and everything like that, with Portia, Shamia, I feel like Marlo could have continued that villain role because her and Portia don't like each other. And if Kenya wasn't on the show, you really didn't need that other villain person. But they're so dumb they listened to whomever and they got rid of Marlo. So now it's like, who's really going to be able to fill that role to get everything to be the antagonist of the show? I don't know who's going to be able to fill that role. I'm hearing that they're all attacking Drew, but I'm tired of that. That's just whack. So I don't have high hopes for this season. I am excited about Portia and Shamia, but I don't know. They said they're going to try to get Phaedra. Speaking of Phaedra's another one that Kenya used to do dirty stuff with, putting a rumor about Mr. Chocolate, saying Phaedra was sleeping with him and this, that, and the third. Kenya's done her dirt. She's definitely done her dirt. I'm not happy to see what the network is doing because she is still a black woman who, is self made and we're from the same city. So I do like Kenya, but I will say that's just the law of life. When you do a lot of dirt, even if it lands you in a position of success, eventually you will obviously have to pay for that some way. So her paying for it they're not tarnishing her name, but she is having that slight demise in a lot of her business endeavors and everything. And that's why it's important when you rise to success to try to do it the most organic way possible without all these alliances. Kenya has been scheming and plotting for years, and y'all know she has. Even if you love her, hate her, whatever, just look at it from an objective view. She is a schemer, plotter, and Kenya has gone to the depths of hell to tear down other women on the show, especially Nene Leakes. And so it's really interesting to me how she laughed at Nene doing the lawsuit with Bravo and fighting with Bravo and not being on the show, called her ugly, called her broke, this, that, and the third, said, Nene cannot get no work and this. And now, the same thing is now happening to Kenya. And what I always hated about Kenya is that she can be as mean and evil as she want to be, but then when something happens to her, she becomes this huge victim and she cries and everybody falls for it. And I always used to say that for years, like, why do people not see through her little like mean girl act, and then she becomes a victim when somebody retaliates or someone does something to her? And I feel like she's putting herself in the victim spot again. And it's like, you cannot be the villain and victim at the same time, Kenya. You have to choose one. If you want to be the villain, be that. If you want to be the victim, also be that. But you are not the victim to me, and you're not both. So yeah, y'all, that's what I have to say about this. I hope Kenya can get it together, which I think she will be able to. She has other stuff, but whatever's happening with her and Bravo, she brought that upon herself, to be honest, with what she said about other women who were struggling with the network. That's why black women, when you see another woman going through something, especially in business, when it pertains to like where white men are predominant in that space, and you see a black woman struggling for her finances, struggling for her name, whatever it is, don't laugh at that woman, because you can end up in her same spot. And that is what has happened to Kenya. Let me know down in the comments what you think about this video, and subscribe to the channel. Bye bye.